This conference will now be recorded.
So now let me take you this assignment 18. So I'm just giving this the same assignment. You have to do it with joins, and for all entries. Okay. So now what is the requirement? So my requirement is get the details from table, get the details from table VBAK, VBAP, VBPA, VBPA, and LFA1, MARA, MAKT, MARA, MAKT. Yeah, so let's take these are the tables. So now VBAK, VBAP. So VBAK is a sales order header data. VBAP is sales order item data. VBPA is sales order partners data. So for every sales order, we can have multiple partners. So if I'm going to VBPA table. So see here sales document partner details. Now when I say click on execute, see for one single sales order you can have 4 partners. So maybe in real time you can able to see 6 partners or 7 partners or 8 partners also. 8 partners also. So we will by default 4 partners will be available. Now the first one is the sold to party, which is nothing but SP. The second one is the bill to party, BP, and the third one is the payer, and the fourth one is your ship to party. So when you're buying an order in Amazon, so they will be asking you who is going to be your address. So whether we have to keep the same address as both sold to party and ship to party, or whether you have to put a different address. So they will be asking, it will be asking you in the Amazon if you clearly seen that. So in the same way, because so you are buying it, but you need to ship it to someone else. You need to shipping it to someone else. Maybe some other person will go ahead and buy the bill also for you on behalf of you. So maybe if you go ahead and take the payer, so if you are using some other person credit card, so the payer is that person, the payer is that person. So like that, so you will be having 4 different partners that will be available, and you need to get those details and you need to display that in your output for each and every sale order. So this is what your VBPA is. So as you already know LFA1, so which is nothing but your sorry, this is KNA1, not LFA1, customer master data. So for this customer, if you want to get the details from customer master data, you have to use KNA1, MARA and MAKT, material master, MARA table and MAKT. So now what are the fields I needed from the table? So from VBAK, I need VBELN, ERDAT, ERNAM, next VBTYP, AUART, and then I need something called as VKORG, VTWEG, and SPART. So these are the fields. So now from VBAP, I needed VBELN. I'm just so that you can know the relationship between these fields. So that's the reason I have written the VBELN also. Next POSNR, MATNR, and MATKL. MATKL. So these are the fields. Next, VBPA. I need VBELN. Next, partner function. What is this? One second. PRA VW, and then KUNNR, KUNAR. So this is the one. Next, from KNA1, I need KUNNR, name 1, comma name 2, comma name 3, name 3. Let me go to this table KNA1. So name 1 and name 2 only it's there. Okay, name 1 and name 2, and then land 1, ORT01, ORT01, PSTLZ, postal code, and then REGIO, regio. So these are the fields. Next, from Mara, I need MATNR, MATKL, MBRSH, and MTART, MEINS. And next, from material description table. So material description, so MATNR and MAKTX, MAKT. So material description, MAKTX, MAKTX, and here you have to mention a condition called as SPRAS. So SPRAS is nothing but your language key, which language you want to determine. So you have to provide your system language. So where SPRAS equal to SCI language, where SPRAS equal to SCI LANGU. So this is the condition you have to use for MAKT table to get the details. Now coming to your selection screen. So selection screen, I need material number as select option. So MATNR, which is nothing but your select option, and then and and a mandatory field. And next, sales org, VKORG, which is a select option converting into a parameter, and it's an mandatory field. It's a mandatory field. Now coming to my output. So now output is the first field should be VBALN, and next POSNR, and next ERDAT concatenated with ERNAM. So ERDAT, I need the date format as mm.td.yyyy. So this is the date format I need. So ERNAM, and next one is VBTYP, AUART, and next VKORG at the rate VTWEG at the rate SPART. So this is the next field. So now the next one is coming to this. Okay, now I need, so now if I go to VBPA again, now when I click on execute, so here for one sale order, it is showing you as 4 different lines. So for sold to party 1 line, bill to party as 1 line, payer as 1 line, and ship to party as 1 line. I need these 4 details in a separate in one single line. So that means, so now I need SPART. Now sold to party Konar, sold to party Kunar. So what is the sold to party? So 1001 I need. And next, sold to party Kunar name. So where I need to get from Kenya1. So when I pass this Kunar, I can get the name. So name, so name 1. So sold to party name, which is nothing but concatenate of name 1, comma name 2, and if name 2 is available, then I need name 1 and name 2. I need name 1 comma name 2, else I need only name 1, else only name 1 to be gets populated. So no comma, nothing. Okay, remember that. Now in the same way for BP Kunar and BP Kunar name, it's the same thing. which is name1 and name2 if name2 is available. Okay. Next, sold to party, bill to party is completed. Next, PY Kunar and PY Kunar name. Kunar name. So the same thing, name1 and name2 if name2 is available. So then you need to provide that one. Okay. So the next one is ship to party Kunar and ship to party Kunar name. The same details, the same details. So the next field. So now once it is completed, so now sold to party land one I needed. Sorry, yeah, sold to party land one and sold to party ORT01 and next sold to party PSTLZ and next sold to party Regio. So these are the details I needed. Okay, so Regio and next and next field is I need MATNR, MATNR, MATKL, EMBRSH, EMTART, MAINS, and next here I'll take this as MAKTX. So these are the fields. These are the fields and this is how my output I needed. This is how the output I needed to be shown in the display. Do this with the joins as well as your for all entries and do that with your old syntaxes as well as your new syntax. Do the assignment with old syntax which is nothing but a read table with binary search and next the new inline declarations and next one is what is the next one inline declarations and next one is the for loop. So new inline declarations and the new read statement and for loop with let operator for loop with let operator. Okay, so this is what my requirement is. So you have to complete this and send it back to me. So any questions in the requirement? Are you clear with the requirement? Okay, so I hope it's clear. So now let's go ahead and start with our next concept called as your control break statements. So the next concept we are going to see is called as your control break statements. So what is this control break statements? So now control break statements, when you're processing the internal table, let's say I want my header to be gets populated or I want to do the summation of my price. I want to do the summation of my price or I want to do the subtotals and grand totals. So if you want to do that, so you can do it with the help of your declaring your variables and everything. So this is the old style. I'm just going to take it to you. So the new style I'll be letting you know once we started with our S4 HANA, which is nothing but for loop using group by clause. For loop using group by clause. With the help of that group by clause, we can able to achieve this control break statement. So that I'll be telling you at a later point of time. Okay, so hold on for that. Now, so when you're processing the internal table, if you need to stop the processing and ask to do some activities or ABAP code, so then we will be using this control break statements. So we can also achieve this with the help of your conditional operator or if else statements. But when you are writing these if conditions, then we need to use some variables to compare the data. So as we are going to declare the variables, we are using the program, we are making the excessive program memory. We are utilizing the more program memory. So as an ABAPer, we always need to remember that we have to reduce the program memory as much as we can, so that so it has to use the SAP's memory. It has to use the SAP's memories while we are doing that. So that's what we are doing it with the new syntaxes. So the for loop, the conditional operator, it's completely it is doing with your SAP memory. We are not declaring any variables or anything to do that or to compare that. To do that or to compare that, we are not doing anything. So here also in the old syntaxes, so to not to create any variables inside your loop for creating of your grand totals and subtotals and etc etc. So we will be going and using your control break statements. We'll be going to use your control break statements. What are these control break statements? So at first, at new, at end of, and at last. So at first, this statement will trigger during the first record processing. When you're processing the very first record, so this statement will trigger. So now let me copy this example program, and then I will be going and showing you that one. So this is completely the older style how I have written this. Okay, so let me just copy this one, and then I'll just go ahead and paste it by creating a new program. So slash and SC38 uh, so SC37 SC38. So I'm going to take ZR7 AM, ZR7 AM. So example on control break statements. Now let me click on create. So I'm going to take example on control break statements. Now I'll be taking this as executable program. Let me click on save. So now I'm going to save that in my package as well as in my TR. So whatever the TR I have, I'll just going to paste that in that TR. So now let me copy this program, whatever we have seen. Okay. So now let me remove this, and also I'll also go ahead and remove this one. Okay, so now do your pretty printer and let's get activate the code. So now, so I have, so there is one more statement called as move corresponding. So I'll be telling you at a later point of time. So hold on for that. So we are just want to move the details from one structure to another structure. So then we will be using this as move corresponding. So move corresponding. So that we will be using this, and I'm just filling up this internal table directly. So this is one more statement which we will be using in our older syntax without without passing the values field by field. We will be using this move corresponding. So this I will be telling you at a later point of time. Okay, now Now, so see here, I have just created my types declarations, and then I have created my final table, and I have got the details. So what is this material? And I got the material details. For this material details, I got the details from VBAP, and then I got the details from, I have used my temporary table, and I have used get the details from VB, get the sales order details, and then I have filled my internal table with the help of your read table, which is the older style, which you already know it. I have already told you about this. And now I just want to display my data. I just want to display my data. So now when I was displaying the data, so the first thing is I want to display my header. I want to display the header of your internal table. So now what are the fields I'm just showing you up? So I'm just going to show you VBALN. POSNR and MATNR. These are the fields. I'm just going to display that in my output. So how can you do that? So how can you know what is your first record? What is the system variable which will tell us while you're processing inside your loop? So which record you're processing inside your loop? What is the system variable? What is the system variable? Which will tell us which record you're processing inside your loop. What is the system variable? Tell me, guys. So I told you this. Now when I activate this code, let me first activate this and let me keep a breakpoint over here and let me click on execute, and I'll just go ahead and click on execute. HALB. I'll just click on execute. So now when I'm going to display the data, so I have 79 records with HALB. So now, so how can we know it? When I say F5, see here site abix. So if site abix equal to 1, site abix, so which will tell us, so which record you're processing in the internal table will be told by your site abix. Now with the help of your site abix, you can able to write down your code. So now how I am going to write down? So if site abix equal to 1, if site abix equal to 1, then I'm going to do that one. Site abix equal to 1, then I'm going to do that one. So what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to say this as, I need only 3 fields, which is the first field is sales order, and the next one is sale order item. So I'm just going to have this as S4 item, and then I'm going to have this as material number. Material number. This is what. So now I'll go ahead and do my pretty printer, and let's just check this and let me activate this one. So now when I click on execute, when I pass this HLB and when I say execute this one, now I'll just go ahead and remove this one and let me click on F8. See here, you got your sales order number, you got your sales order item number and your material number only for the very first time, because for the next record onwards, it will be gets repeating. Now I want to keep a horizontal line and I want to keep a vertical lines. I want to keep a horizontal lines and I want to keep a vertical lines. So to keep this horizontal line, or to keep this horizontal line, you will be using right SYU line, right? SYU line. So psi U line. So now when I say activate this one, when I click on execute, when I say execute this one, now see here a line has been created. A line has been created, but I want to stop the line till here. So now what I will do, I will go ahead and say after this, I'm just going to pass plus, or I can say just say 40. So till 40 characters, it will go ahead and do. So 10 plus 6. So now I'll just take this as 30 characters. Now if I go ahead and do my pretty printer, and now let me activate this one. And now let me click on execute and click on execute by passing HLB. So now see here, my till my material number, it has stopped. So now so this is how, so see till how much length you want, you can just determine that length. Now I want to print my horizontal lines. So when you want to print your horizontal lines, you have to go ahead and use a psi v line. So before this, I'm going to use my psi v line. So now I'll just go ahead and do this one, and at the same way for the next field also, I'm going to use my psi v line, and the next field also I'm going to use my, I'm going to use my psi v line. So after this, I want to also close this table and I'm going to use this as psi v line. Now do your pretty printer and let's get activate your code. And now let me click on execute. If I say this HALB and when say click on execute, see here the sales order number, the sales order item and material. So it has now reduced because you have provided the sales order one horizontal lines you have added. So you need to change this to, let's take this to your 36. So you have to do this. So there is no other options. So every time you have to provide this one and you have to check this so that it is coming it or not. So another two more characters. So I'm just going to add this as to 38. So now when I say activate this one and when I click on execute HALB and F8, F8, see here, now it has been clear. So now what is the value I need to keep? I need to keep till to my 38. So now before this write statement, I'm going to use write psi uline of your 38. So I'm going to use psi uline. So now in between this also I'm going to pass the psi v line. Okay, the psi v line and then the psi v line and next the comma, the psi v line and full stop. So now do your pretty printer and let's get activate your code and let me click on execute. If I just provided this one and now see here, see it has been increased. So you have to do this alignment, guys. You have to do this alignment. So you have to move it to this before your sale order and this item has to be moved this one and this material number has to be start this one. How you are going to do that is your responsibility. You go ahead and find out in Google and you have to do that one. You have to do that one. So you have to complete that one. Okay, that's your task. That's your task. Okay, so now, so this is how you will be writing. So as you are going to use this site apex as your comparison variable, so the site apex you are passing it. So if you are using this site apex is nothing but the memory of the site apex is going to be assigned in your program. So in order to not to use this memory, so we will be using this first at first, and then we need to close this with the and at. So we have to use and at. So always if and if for loop and loop, do and do. I have already shown you that case and case. So like this. So for at first you have to use and at. Now when I say activate this one, so now when I click on execute, when I pass HALB, the output will be your same. The output will be your same. So now the next one is I want to display the total number of records. I want to display the total number of records. So in order to display your total number of records, so what I need to do? So to get the total number of records of an internal table, to get the total number of records of an internal table. So how to use this? So we will be having the syntax called as describe table. Describe table. What is your internal table? You have to provide this one into lines. So what is your variable? So I'm going to have my inline declaration data lgv underscore the lines. So this is what my inline declaration is. Okay, so now how can you check this? So how can you know whether you are processing the last record of an internal table? How can you know whether you are processing the last record of an internal table? How can you know? How the system knows that we are processing the last record of an internal table? Tell me, guys, how the system knows that the system is processing the last record of an internal table? It's so simple. So here we will be getting the number of lines. So if psi tab x is equal to gv lines, So GV lines. So if it is 100, so the total number of records in the internal table is 100. So when site abax equal to 100, that means you're processing the last record. So that's it. So then what is the issue here? Simple. So now what we are going to do, I'm going to say, write psi u line of 38. So I'm just going to say write psi u line of 38, and then I'm going to say write the total number of records in the internal table. The total number of records in the total number of records. Total number of records is equal to, I'm just going to pass this as gv underscore the lines. That's it. And then I'm going to say write psi u line of 38. So I'm just going to close that one. So that's it. Now do your pretty printer and let's get activate the code. So edit. I think I have already declared this at the top. Yeah. So now do your pretty printer. Now again check this, no issues, and let me get activate the code. Now let me click on execute. If I pass ROH and when I click on execute, no data is there. HALB, when I say execute this, I got the details, and at the last after the processing, see here the total number of records equal to 79. So now what you have used a variable. You have used a variable to find out the number of records. Where is this? You have used the variables to find out the number of records, and you have used your site abax. You have used your site abax. Now, instead of that, what I will
Ravi,
be
but
using.
can't you use any count? Like in SQL, you have a count function, right?
Yeah,
Can't we
if
use any
you
of those?
see, you can go ahead and use. So what I will do. So I'll just say. Uh, so see, if you are using your counter, so how can you compare this count with a final operator? What is the last value? How can you know that with the help of your count? Okay, let's say you have used your count. That means uh, so you will be going and using the by adding +1 to the record what you are filling. So how can you know what is my last record?
No, what I'm saying is take the total count of records which qualify for these conditions as such.
Yeah,
See
this is
here,
the total number of records which we are qualifying with that condition. So see, with the help of these conditions, I'm filling my final internal table. If you see
hmm
here, I'm just filling up my final internal table. So how can you know the total number of records in my final internal table? So if you want to know this, so directly you can use this one. You don't
okay,
need
so
to use
describe
count or
will
anything. Right,
okay, so describe will give only count, not the data.
right. Lines. So you have using the command lines. So it will tell
Mm-hmm.
you, it will compare the table with the how many number of lines are there, and it will be storing that in this. The count will be used with the help of it your describe table using lines.
Okay,
Got
okay,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. So now, as you have used your variable and you are using with your comparison. So in order to do that, I'll just say at last, and I'm going to use this as ended. Ended. So now I'm going to show you the new syntax for your lines. So I'm just going to take this as lines of, just lines of your internal table. That's it. Lines of your internal table. That's it. Now do your pretty printer. Let me click on check. Sorry, I need to put the full stop. So do your pretty printer and let me click on check. No issues at all. So now see activate. So now where we are using at last is an SAP memory, and we are going to use, we are not filling of any variable. So I have removed the variable concept. So previously how you will be rising, how you will be using, so data of gv underscore lines equal to, so we will be using this as lines of your GT underscore your final. So this is what you will be using your syntax for describing the lines with the new syntax. So as I told you, the new syntax directly we can use wherever we want. I'm just directly using in my write statement without declaring my variable. Without declaring my variable, I'm just going to use in my uh, write statement. Now when I say activate this one, now when I click on execute and when I pass this HALB and when I click on execute, now you can see here the total count is 79. See here, automatically it has filled this. So we have not used any comparison operator. We have not used any comparison operator, or we have not used any variable. We have not used. We have decreasing the variables usages and everything. So that means we are completely utilizing the SAP memory. You're completely utilizing your SAP memory to do this one. Okay, so this is how you have to do with your at last. This is how you have to do with your at last. Now, the next thing is at, what is the next thing? At new. So what is this at new? So what is this at new? This statement will trigger whenever when SAP sees when SAP sees a new value in the particular field. So the SAP sees a new value in your particular field. Whatever the field you are going to use this it in at new, in that field, if there is a new value that has been provided, so then it will go ahead and trigger this statement. It will just go ahead and trigger this statement. How can you achieve this one? So now my requirement is I want to show I want to show the start of processing of sale order number when when it is doing a new one. When it is doing a new one, I want to show my start of sales order number. So now here I'll just go ahead and use if first for the first record, if psi tab x equal to 1. So I'll just say write. So I'm just going to say psi u line of 38. Psi u line of 38, and then I'm going to say start of sales order processing, START, start of displaying the sales order, displaying the sales order, and I'm just going to display what is my sales order number. So what is my number? GS underscore final, GS underscore final hyphen VBE LN. So now for the very first time, it is going to trigger that. Now, how can you know what is your next? No, I mean, how can you know? You need to compare the next value of your internal table. So when I say activate this one, and now when I go ahead and keep the breakpoint over here, let me click on execute. I'm just going to do that one, and I'll just say click on execute. Now see here in my GT final, I have 79 records, right? So now, so when I'm processing the first record, I want to see my second record. Sorry, when I'm processing the second record, my bad. When I'm processing the second record, I want to see my first record value. If both are same, I don't need to print that one. If both are different, then I need to print that one. I need to print this start of processing of your sale order. If both are same, then you're processing the same sales order details. I don't want that to be displayed in the output. If both are different, I just want to do that one. I just want to do that one. So how can you achieve that one? So now what I'm doing, so for the very first time, I'm just going to print this start of displaying of my sales order. So after this, when we are processing the 001, I need to see, I need to again print the start of displaying of my sales order, all zeros one, all zeros one. So that is what my requirement is. Now what you need to do, you need to know what is your previous value. So how I'm going to do that, I'm going to say, so data of ls underscore or gs underscore final one is equal to, so I'll just take value hash value hash, and I'm going to take what is my internal table, gt underscore final of sci tabix minus 1. So I'm going to do this one, and I'll just say this as my optional. I'll just say this as my optional. So this I'm going to put that in my else condition, and then just going to keep this as end if, because for the very first record, so if site is equal to 1, 1 minus 1 is equal to 0, which will creates an issue while getting the data. So that's the reason I have keep it as site is equal to 1. If it is not equal to 1, then it has to go to this one. So now if both are different, if again, gs underscore final one hyphen VBELN is not equal to gs underscore final hyphen VBELN. So if that is the case, then again I need to go ahead and do that one. So what I need to do, I need to go ahead and print this one. So this is this much of a big logic you have to return when you are processing with the help of your with the help of this if and else if statements, if condition statements. You have to use it. You have used a way, you have used a structure, and you have passed this value. You have passed this value. So now when I say activate this one, when I click on execute, when I say HALB, and when I say click on execute, now I'll just remove my breakpoint, and I'll just say click on activate. See here, when I was displaying the 001, it is displaying 001, 002, 003, 004, 005, 6, 7. So like this, it has displayed your all your sales order details. So this is what. So this much big query you have to write, almost like 10 lines you have to return. So almost like 10 lines. So to avoid this, I'll just say at the new VBELN. So whatever on which field you are going to compare, you just need to write that, and then I'll just say and it, and then in between this I'm going to write these 2 lines. I'm going to write these 2 lines of my code. That's it. When I do this, automatically it will do the same thing. It will do my same thing. Now when I say activate this one, HALB, and now see here the same query. So it will go ahead and check this. So when it will display, if there is a change in the value, so then it will go inside this and it will display this data. It will display this data. So this is what all about your at new. This is all about your at new statement. Now the next statement is I want to display once after displaying all the records of my sales order for that first sales order number. So I want to display end of displaying of my sales order number. End of displaying of my sales order number. So how can you do that one? So to achieve this one, so after this write statements, I'm going to do this one. So I'll just go ahead and say copy this. I'll just go ahead and paste it over here. I'll just say Citabix plus 1. Citabix plus 1. Okay. So if gs underscore final, so here I'm going to take this as if Citabix is equal to, I'm just going to take this as, sorry, not equal to, lines of gt underscore final. So gt underscore final. So if both are not different, then only this has to be checked. If both are different, that means it is the last record we are processing. So if gs final one hyphen VBELN is not equal to gs underscore final hyphen VBELN, then I'm going to write. So now here one more end if. For this if statement, I'm writing one more end if. Now if both are not equal, so I'm going to say write SIU line of 38 and then end of displaying of my sales order. End of displaying of my sales order. And now if both are same, else I'm going to say the same again 2 lines. The same again, 2 lines for the last record of your internal table. Now do your pretty printer and let's just check this and let me activate the code. Now when I click on execute, when I provide this HALB, now see here, end of displaying of your sales order one. So then start of displaying. Next, once it is completed, end of displaying and start of displaying, end of displaying and end of displaying. So now, so at the total number of records. Now this much big logic you have to return for this one. So to avoid this much big logic, what I will use, I will just say at end of VBELN on which field you are going to compare. So you have to provide this and end at and end it, and I'm just going to write this following two statements. Following two statements. Now do your pretty printer and let's get check this and let's get activate. Now when I click on execute and when I say this one and click on execute, the output is the same, no difference in your output. So here we have used this. So now so the entire logic what you have written, it will be just checked at end of VBELN command. So the entire logic what you have written for processing, it will just check this at new automatically by SAP itself. You don't need to worry about that. So this is what you have to do it with the help of your the control break statements. This is what you have to do it with the help of your control break statements. So now let me take to an assignment. So before we go ahead with the assignment, any questions? Any questions, guys? Okay, I'll be considering this as no questions. So now let me take to my assignment. So the assignment is, I'll just give me 1 minute.
Ravi, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can. Now I can able to hear you. Tell me.
Yeah. So in Oracle, we use describe to show the structure of the table. So how do we get the structure of the table in SAP?
Sorry.
In Oracle, we use describe keyword to get the structure of the table.
No, I did. I used describe to get the number of records of my internal table.
Correct. But how do we get the structure of a table? Like
So that's
what
what
data
you
it has?
see. See, you have to manually write down. So if you go to the final structure, so VBELN, which is of your sales order number, so POSNR. So you have to go inside to this table and you have to fill manually your structure. So that's what which we have declared at the types declaration of my final. So here you will be getting all your structure details. So what is your entire structure? So you will be getting your entire structure details.
I think the question is purely around how do we look at the table first. So I understand we can go through the table, the dictionary itself. If not,
Right.
is there a command? Is there a command which we can execute and which shows the entire table or the
No.
fields of a table and etc.
So if you want to do that, you can only check it with the help of your debugging. When I keep a breakpoint over here, and when I click on execute, if I pass the data, and when I click on execute, so if I go to my GTVBAK, so if I double click on this, so these are the fields of my table. So this
Ravi,
is
the
how.
question is like we will go to SC09, right, to see the table structure, what is the column type and all. So is there
Right.
any command to do that instead of T code? Can we do it like
No.
in the ABAP editor? Like in Oracle, we have describe command, which will show the metadata of the table, like what is
So
the column,
here,
what is the data
here,
type,
if you
like that.
want, if you have to go here, so you have to go like this only. So there is no other
Okay.
option. You have to go like this only. There is no other option over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally, to see the data type of the column and all, will go to SC09, right? To
SE11,
the
I would say.
dictionary.
Yeah, data
Okay.
dictionary, not SE09, SE11. So you have
Yeah,
to,
yeah. Sorry.
so here you have to go to the SE11 and you have to find out that. So the metadata
Okay.
here you can't able to get it. You can't able to get it,
Okay.
but while you are processing it and everything, you can able to see it in your debugging. What is the metadata has been used? So what is the data type and what is the length that has been used? So
Okay.
so that's what. So when you are describing this, so here the what is the length that has been assigned, you will be knowing it. So if you double click on this, you can go here and you can see the data type and your length. So in SAP,
Yeah.
mostly you have to use your parallel screens. So that means extended window, you have to use it so that you can check parallelly. So you can't
Okay.
able to get the metadata like how you're going to get that in Oracle. Okay, so
Okay.
clear?
Yeah, Ravi.
Yeah, Bindu, it's clear for you?
Yes, yes, Ravi. Thank you.
Okay. So now, let me go to the assignment. So I'll just pulling out the assignment. Just give me 1 minute of time. Assignment 19. Okay. Okay. So let me take you the assignment. So now, so the assignment 19. So the simple assignment. So I want to get the details from VBAK and VBAP. I'm just going to give you a simple assignment. The output fields is, these are the 4 fields I needed in my output. So now the sales document type and creation date, both I need it as a select options. Okay, the sales document type and creation date, both I need it as a select options. Now output. So this 4 fields I want, and once the sales order is completed, I want to show the subtotals of your sales order, the price, the subtotals of your sales order, and then once it is completed, I want to show the grand total, the subtotals as well as your grand totals. Use your control break statements and complete this assignment. Note, use control break statements and complete this assignment. So this is what you have to do it with the help of your control break statements. Okay, so complete this assignment with the help of your control break statements and show me the output. So this is how my output is. I want that the line to be gets populated and subtotals to be get at the center. At the center, you have to use a command called as center. So then that is going to be used, then that will be displayed that as a center. So the same way, so subtotal and grand total. So you go ahead and see the center keyword. So the purpose of your center keyword, you will be having a left justified, a right justified, a center and everything. If you are going to show this as a left justified, it will come to your left. If you are going to do it as a right justified, it will go to your right. So the same thing. So here, when I was displaying the data, I'll just say, is this, yeah, sorry. So left justified. So now when I say activate this one, and now when I click on execute, when I say this and when I click on execute, it will be showcased that as your left justified. The left justified. So see, the left justified. So it has removed all your leading zeros and it has just justified it and it has show you that one. So in the same way, I want to use the center. So you will just say the centered. So now when I say activate this one and when I click on execute, and you will be just passing this one and you will be just say execute this one and then click on execute, it will be showcased that in your center. So somehow the center is not working in this new commands. So I know it. So, but you have to use the command centered. I want to see that command word centered. So it has to be in a centered. Okay. So that's what you have to use it while you are displaying the data, while you are displaying. I know. So when you are using this centered for this also, it will not come into centered. I know it, but I want to see that command in your code. That's it. Okay. So this is how you, this is what you have to complete your assignment. So by this we have completed all your syntaxes, majority of your syntaxes. Going forward we will be just using the syntaxes in your upcoming, the coming upcoming reportings and everything. So this is also a report, but this report has so many things. So let's say for example, if I execute this one, I want to populate the default values in my selection screen, or I want to validate the data what you are providing. I want to validate the data what you are providing. I want to assign an F4 help. See here, for this I don't have an F4. I want to assign an F1 help, or I want to print. I want to show. See how the execution of the program will be happened in SAP. We have some events. So with the help of those events, the entire program will be restructured. So from tomorrow onwards, we are going to see the classical reporting events. So the classical reporting events is what we are going to see in your tomorrow's class. So the code will be the same, but just you are going to use the events I just told you. So in order to provide a default values in your selection screen, or if I want to do the validations in my selection screen, I want to keep my header in my output. I want to keep my header. I want to keep my footer. So I want to do that. So when you are doing a validation, you want to display how the message has to be, how the information text you want. So whether you want that to be as an success message, so there you will be having a traffic signals. So success message, error message, and everything. So you will be checking with that and you will be writing their ABAP code. So how you are going to do that? To do that, we will be having all those events. So that we are going to start with your tomorrow's session. Yeah, good.
Hey,
Girish,
Ravi, a question. See, now you said this is like a report which has been built. Nice.
right?
So suppose this is to be deployed on production. Anybody who gives in this T code, the customized name itself will be like a T code, no, right? Report name, which
So
you
see,
can
I didn't tell you about the transaction code, how to create a report for a transaction. We have created an SM30 transaction code, right? In the same way for your report also, you can go ahead and
Mhm.
create a transaction code. So I'll be telling
Okay.
you tomorrow the first concept of that. So which we will be capturing in the TR. So which we'll be
Hmm.
capturing in TR. So once the TR has been deployed to production, automatically if they go into the production landscape, in the production landscape, they will just they will just provide the transaction code and they can use that. But before
Okay.
they go ahead and use that, you have to ask the functionals, you have to tell the functionals, so to whom we need to provide the access. So whether it has to be provided to your the access to the very junior level, or only to the managers, or only to the senior managers. We do have an authorization concept over there. So that
Hmm.
functions will take care of it. So you have to just inform the functionals who are in the email to check with the security and assign the particular roles to this transaction code. Assign the particular roles
Okay.
to this transaction code. So if that role has been assigned under your name, so if you have an eligible to access it, you can go ahead and access that one. Else you can't able to access it. It will show you that you're not authorized to use this transaction code. So like that, it will be come up.
I see. Okay. Okay. Because when we look at this report, of course, we have the access to develop. In production, it will not be the same, right? So we have to associate, I think, with T code, as you say. And with the T code, they cannot access the code. They can only see the report. That's it.
You can just directly see the output. So
That's
like
it.
if
Okay.
I come back here, so let me go, sorry. So let me go to SE38. So let's say for example, so in functionals, how they will be using it, they have a transaction code called as SA38. See,
Mm.
so SE38, we will be never giving an access in production for no
Mm-hmm.
one. SE38, the transaction code will be never giving an access. If they want to see the output, they will be coming to use SA38 and they will be providing. If there is no transaction code for that program, let's say for example, the senior managers has to run that. So no other person has an access. So they can come to this SA38 and they will just give the program name and they'll just click on execute. It will directly show you the selection screen. It will directly show you the selection screen once they provide the input value and once they click on execute. See, I have kept this breakpoint. Usually we will not keep this breakpoint. So now this is what. So now if I go back and when I click on execute, the output will be shown. So after this, what they want, whether they want to send it as an email or whether they want to download this report. So we don't have these options of download and sending of email and all these things. So that we are going to see in your interactive reporting. That we are going to see under your interactive reporting. So all for see, we are writing everything in order to send an email or in order to, let's say for example, I want to sort this. I want to sort this based upon my material number. So you don't have the sorting keyword. You have to write a command for material number sorting. And once they click on, once they select this material number sorting, it will just do a sort. Accordingly, the data will again gets changed. Automatically, the data will be gets changed. So you have to write so much of a logic to do that activity. To avoid that, we have came up with a predefined functions which is nothing but your ALV reporting. All this sorting, the subtotals, the grand totals. So in order to download or in order to send an email, all these are predefined functions that has been provided by SAP in your ALV report. So in your ALV report, so that's what we will be seeing in your. So if I go to SE38, let me show you that one. So ZR 8 a.m. 8 a.m. 8 a.m. 8 a.m. ALV using type groups, ALV with the structure. When I just say activate this one, execute this one. So this is how your ALV will looks like. So your scroll bar, the vertical scroll bar and horizontal scroll bar, in order to write that with the right statements, again, you need to write a big code of that. So what are the predefined functions that we are going to use it? So those all your predefined functions SAP has provided it. You don't need to write the logic. You don't need to write the logic for that. So let's say I want to do it on my created date sorting. See, automatically the data has been changed. So for this, you will not write any ABAP code. You will not write any ABAP code. You will just use this function module. So after this class interactive reporting, we'll be using we'll be telling you a concept called as modularization. So in that we are going to deal with the function modules and then we will be going ahead and come to the function module concept. So sorry, ALV reporting. ALV reports uses your function module technology to showcase the details in your output. To showcase the details in your output. So that's what we'll be go ahead and use it. So from there onwards, I'd always say you that you should not use your write statements. The entire code has to be written with the help of your function modules. After this, we will be going and seeing of your oops ABAP. So where we will be using a container. So here you can only display one single report in a screen. I want to display two reports. So one report at this area, one report at this area, one report at this area, one report at this area. So I want to display multiple reports in one different screen. So in order to do that, we will be using this the container ALV. So ALV with containers, which will comes under your oops based ABAP. So where you will be writing with classes. Once we deal with that, I'll always suggest so to go ahead and use with your containers. So after that, we will be using a simplified form of your ALV. So once you go into that concept, you will be knowing this, what is the simplified version. So that's the main thing which I used to use it in my real time, the simplified ALV, SALV, which is called as simplified ALV. So there you don't need to create any structure or anything. You just need to pass the internal table. Automatically, everything will be just created by your SAP. So the header and everything will be created by your SAP. So that's the simplified ALV. So which will completely uses your OOPS technology, which will completely uses your OOPS technology. So that's what we are going to see that. So going forward, once that SLV is completed, so which have used it. So when I go ahead and use in our programs, in the last class we have used where is this for all entries. So I have used uh, CL underscore demo underscore output, right? So when I go ahead and see this over here, I have used CL underscore demo underscore output. This is only for your demo purpose. Like this, you will be having CL underscore SLV underscore table. So which is used to display the table data, the internal table data to in your output. So that's a simplified CL underscore SALV underscore table. That class we are going to use that, and we'll be displaying the data. So that's how you will be going. You will be seeing that. So the right statements are very, very basic. We will be never ever using the right statements. Even if you are not going to practice the right statements also, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm not saying that. So, but function modules and OOPS based reporting and then your SALV, you have to practice this as much as you can. As much as you can. So I have created, I mean, in what we have done in the real time. So the SALV, every report will uses the SALV. So what we have created a generic class and generic method for that, and we will be calling that method or whatever the details it has to perform, it will go ahead and do that one. I'll be showing you my real-time system. Don't worry. Once we are dealing with your once we have come after the modularization, I'll be showing you my real-time system. So how I used to write my ABAP, how I used to write the real-time ABAP. So I'll always use the new syntaxes only for writing. So even in your select query, I told that you can able to use your concatenation operators and everything. So which I have used that in my real time. So that I'm going to show you that once after completing of your modularization. Okay, clear with it? Any other questions?
And now we're good. Thanks.
Okay, so I hope it's clear to everyone. And this Saturday, you have your class to compensate for Tuesday's session. So the same timing, 7 to 8. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yep. Thanks.